So good to have you join us today. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Lee Ji-yoon in Seoul. Coming up on today's edition of Business Daily. With the market size of online videos expected to grow, Korea's Naver and Kakao are also beefing up their video platform services. With the $1 volatility on the rise, Korean exporters are concerned that this could lead to more problems for them down the road. We'll sit down with an expert to talk about this. But first, a two-day interpellation session has kicked off at the National Assembly on this Thursday. And in the hot seat of this afternoon's session on the economy is Finance Minister Yoo Il-ho, who also doubles as the nation's Deputy Prime Minister. Lawmakers from 4 political parties are set to focus their questions on the efforts the government is taking to uphold the livelihoods of the public, at a time when the president has been impeached by Parliament and faces an uncertain future. How to properly deal with the impact of the bird flu and foot and mouth disease, as well as America's protectionist stance on trade, are a few of the considerations on the agenda. Meanwhile, Acting President and Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-won, who was asked to attend tomorrow's Q&A session, has ordered that all cattle vaccinations be completed by the week's end. A combined 3 separate cases of foot and mouth disease were confirmed on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. A slump in private consumption continues to weigh heavily on the Korean economy. In its monthly assessment of the economy, the Finance Ministry says despite recovery on the trade front, domestic spending remains weak due to a slump in sentiment. Retail sales fell 1.2% in December from the previous month, quickening from a 0.1% on-month drop posted in November. However, on the positive side, Korea's exports have been on the recovery track. Outbound shipments spiked by more than 11% on-year in January, marking positive growth for 3 straight months and the first double-digit growth in 4 years. The ministry, however, expects domestic consumption to keep sliding for the time being, on uncertainties stemming from the new administration in the U.S. and weakening sentiment amid the ongoing political turmoil here in Korea. It vowed to step up monitoring of both external and internal conditions and work to improve the livelihoods of the people. Korea's domestic manufacturing supply grew at the fastest pace in 3 years in the fourth quarter of last year from a year ago. Statistics Korea says domestic manufacturing supply, which includes final goods and intermediate goods that are both locally produced and imported, rose 3.6% during the October to December period. The agency attributes the rise to increased facility investment and demand for mechanical equipment, which was driven by solid demand for semiconductors. Greater demand for primary metals, thanks to a boom in the construction sector, also contributed. Among final goods, supply rose almost 5%, while intermediate goods posted 2.9% growth on year. By industry, mechanical equipment saw the biggest increase at 13%, followed by primary metals and chemical products. But some worrying news on the country's trade front. Korean steel and chemical products have been found to be the targets of tighter import restrictions in other countries. Our Shin Se-min tells us more.
The Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency, or KOTRA, said on Wednesday that in the latter half of 2016, out of 19 investigations in foreign countries into Korean products, 11 were in the chemical sector and 7 on steel products. That's according to reports by the agency's overseas offices, showing an increase of more than 5 times the number of investigations on Korean chemical goods reported in the first half of last year. 5 nations, including the U.S., China, and India, have began 2 investigations each, while 9 other trading partners, including Mexico, Vietnam, and the European Union, opened 1 each. Korea's trade agency predicts that such trade restrictions are likely to grow this year, following protectionist measures expected to be rolled out by other countries. Already, the Trump administration in the U.S. has strengthened its imports monitoring system by appointing figures known to take tough lines on trade at the Commerce Department. Moreover, KOTRA also sees Korea's major trading partner, China, potentially resorting to anti-dumping decisions or put non-tariff barriers into effect to ease excess production of chemical products in the country and to foster its own domestic industries. Already, Beijing has put a ban on a number of imports from Korea, citing improper documentations of the products, a move Seoul sees as a retaliatory measure against the deployment of the U.S. missile defense system THAAD to the Korean peninsula. Shin Se-min, Business Daily.
The Financial Supervisory Service is taking measures to get a better grip on loans taken out by self-employed business owners. The financial watchdog announced on Thursday that it has put together a team specifically tasked with monitoring debt levels of the self-employed, the first of its kind. In the face of snowballing household debt levels, officials have been increasingly concerned about the self-employed being saddled with more debt as their loans are not restricted by loan-to-value and debt-to-income requirements that apply to households. The Supervisory Service estimates that self-employed business owners have taken out a combined $520 billion in bank loans as of September last year. Officials say they plan to analyze lending practices by industry type and assess debt risk levels within the non-banking sector as well. The Korean government has vowed to install thousands more electric vehicle charging points throughout the country by the end of this year. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy says the rollout will be made at 230 supermarkets such as Home Plus and E-Mart, as well as 10 major train stations. A ministry official said the goal is to both promote electric car use and draw users to the shops. Working with the Environment Ministry, the number of charging stations around Korea will be doubled this year to 20,000 and 2,500 rapid chargers added. The price for charging has also been cut by almost half, from 313 Korean won a kilowatt hour, which is roughly 27 US cents, to around 174 won. Korea's two tech giants, Naver and Kakao, are placing their growth strategy on video. And our Eunice Kim shows us how the two tech giants are boosting their video platforms, riding on an expected growth spurt.
Say hello to Naver TV. Channeling media content into one location, be it news, entertainment, or one-man TV, the new platform makes it easy to find content for free and optimized for access on a desktop or a mobile device. A few seconds of advertising to sit through helps pay for the high-resolution video.
Some people like to watch video on an app and others prefer to watch it on a web browser. We've put the focus on the user over the supplier.
Meanwhile, the web portal Taum is integrating its video platform holding drama, sports, and other entertainment contents with Korea's top chat app, with which it merged in 2014. Kakao says the new Kakao TV will take advantage of the chat app's strengths, like enabling users to watch live TV programming within a chat window. The feature is said to be unlocked sometime this month.
The biggest differentiation will be in the user's ability to send and receive live media contents, along with games, lifestyle, and entertainment contents.
The reason why these tech giants are placing their bets on video is reflected in the growing scale of the market. The market size of online videos bumped up by nearly 54% on year last year, its value coming in at $426 million. And that momentum is set to continue, according to Cisco. It forecasts by 2020, 82% of consumer web traffic in Korea will be generated by videos. In fact, ad revenue is already skewing online. Ad sales for Naver last year are reported to have come in at $2.58 billion. Meanwhile, traditional media, made up of more than 3,700 newspapers and the 3 terrestrial TV stations KBS, MBC, and SBS, came short, collectively at $2.4 billion. From online search to games, shopping, social media, maps, and ride-hailing services, the footprint of tech giants in Korea are expanding by the day. And as they do, there are growing calls to keep the firms socially and regulatorily accountable as well. Eunice Kim, Business Daily.
The $1 exchange rate looks like it's in for a roller coaster ride this year amid a series of internal and external uncertainties clouding the Korean economy. Now, the Korean won has been caught in a tide of global market volatility ever since Donald Trump's presidential election win in November and his ensuing policies that have stirred up uncertainties on the global trade front. And of course, this is making it more difficult for Korea's big companies to boost their export competitiveness. Take a look.
Earlier this year, many had projected that the Korean won would hover around 1,200 to the dollar and possibly weaken to as much as 1,300 won against the greenback by the second quarter. But in reality, it's been one of the fastest appreciating currencies this year. This comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has been stepping up his protectionist moves. Recently, he accused China, Japan, and Germany for manipulating their currencies in order to gain unfair advantages in trade. These uncertainties on the currency front are also becoming a growing concern for Korean exporters, as a stronger won would weaken their price competitiveness. In fact, analysts have said that when the won appreciates by 100 won to the dollar, companies like Samsung Electronics as well as Hyundai Motor see their operating profits shrink by as much as 5 to 6%. With this, experts say stronger measures should be put in place in order to prevent excessive volatility, which could hinder the country's feeble export recovery.
And to tell us more about this, Professor Kim Se-won from Ewha Women's University joins us in the studio today. So good to see you.
Good afternoon.
All right, so what degree of $1 volatility are we looking at right now?
Well, last year, $1 exchange rate increased up to 1,200 level. But after Mr. Trump won the election, $1 exchange rate dropped down to 1,100 level in a single month. So this is the largest drop in the single months after 2008's global economic crisis. And given these turmoil markets or appreciated Korean won, Korean exporters are confused for losing the price competitiveness in the global market.
So going further from what you just said, how have Trump's recent comments against the strong dollar, as well as his policy moves to strengthen trade protectionism, affect the $1 exchange rate?
Well, according to economic fundamentals, actually, U.S. dollar should be appreciated because U.S. Fed decided to increase interest rate for this year. At the beginning, Mr. Trump strongly demanded the Fed not to increase the interest rate, but the chairwoman of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, said no to Mr. Trump. So after knowing that, Mr. Trump is trying to depreciate U.S. dollars for promoting export of the nation. And the way of depreciating U.S. dollar is blaming major trading countries like China, Japan, and Germany for currency manipulation.
And now, like we heard in the report, this could result in big losses for Korean exporters as well. So tell us more about this, and also what industries would take the worst beatings from it?
Well, actually, we were constantly told that strong won is bad for Korean economy, which is not 100% true, because there are quite a few industries that benefit from strong won.
Okay.
Examples are travel industries, banking industries, steel industries. But the major exporting industries like electronics, automobiles, and oil industries are really hurt in their profits because of the strong Korean won.
All right, so then what's your outlook on the $1 exchange rate from here on out?
Well, actually, I wish I can forecast the $1 exchange rate for making a big money. It is not possible.
Right.
But the fact is, until April, U.S. Department of Treasury is supposed to report currency manipulating countries. So if that report includes major trading partners like China, Japan, Germany, and Korea, these countries' currencies will further appreciate it. If not, the $1 exchange rate will go back to previous level.
Now, then, do you think Korean companies have effective strategies in place to deal with further volatility in the currency market?
Well, big exporting companies like Samsung and Hyundai Motors are systematically hedging their dollar-based receipt and payments. So I don't see big problems with these companies in the short run.
Okay.
But small and medium-sized exporting companies are seriously exposed to foreign exchange risk. According to a recent survey, over 70% of these small companies are not hedging their dollar-based payment. So they have such a bad experience with Kiko's crisis in 2008.
All right. And also, the U.S. Treasury report on currency practices is due in April. So are there anything that local authorities can do before that to curb volatility?
Unfortunately, we do not have instant solutions for strong Korean won. If we face up the reality of the global economy, U.S. is the dominating power in the financial market, and more than 50% of the international trade is paid in U.S. dollars. So the problem is we have to prepare the something protection system and policies for small and medium-sized companies. And in the long run, we have to diversify our trading partners and so on.
Now, some are even saying the volatility on the foreign exchange front around the world could actually lead to more unexpected risks come in April. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, April crisis is something possible scenario, but it is not realized threat yet. There are quite a few overlaps of unfavorable events in April, like the U.S. Department of Treasury's report to Congress, and delayed structural reforms in shipping industry and shipbuilding industries. And there is a possibility of the renegotiation of Korea and U.S. FTA in April.
All right. Well, a lot to look forward to.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the day's top business stories. Until then, goodbye.